Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. No cameras flashed, no microphones clicked, yet by the time the courthouse doors swung open, every news desk from Los Angeles to London was scrambling. Something seismic had just happened inside Courtroom 12B. Jennifer Lawrence, Oscar winner, franchise superstar, and media darling, had sworn in, lifted her gaze to 12 stunned jurors, and uttered a revelation so shocking the court stenographer nearly forgot to type. The rumor that had fluttered like a curse through Hollywood's corridors for more than a decade had finally materialized beneath oath, and its details left seasoned attorneys shifting uncomfortably in their leather chairs. Every industry has its campfire stories, but in Hollywood, whispers tend to sound like confessions. For years, insiders spoke of oddities that clung to Diddy's famous soirees. Security stronger than a presidential summit, sudden requests to surrender phones, late-night disappearances of select guests. No one printed these tales. The entertainment press preferred red carpet glamour to gothic intrigue. Still, veterans traded knowing glances when Diddy's name surfaced. If you worked long enough in film or music, chances were you'd heard at least one troubling anecdote and maybe filed it away to protect a lucrative contact. Jennifer Lawrence never imagined she'd become the key storyteller in that secret saga. By 25, she'd gathered every accolade a young actor could crave. Golden statues on her mantle, billion-dollar box office receipts, the kind of public goodwill that turns premieres into parades. She navigated parties the way athletes run drills, confident, practiced, rarely surprised. So when an invitation bearing Diddy's elegant crest arrived via a trusted colleague, she barely blinked. The note praised her recent performance, promised a networking opportunity tailored for visionaries, and concluded with a gold embossed signature. Yet the logistics struck her as oddly militarized. A black SUV, no substitutions, would collect her at precisely 9:47 p.m. She was to come alone. Her publicist's gentle protest that Jennifer always traveled with a stylist and friend met a steel-polite refusal. Upon arrival, she would sign customary privacy paperwork. The driver assured nothing unusual, but when a footman handed over the documents, their thickness rivaled a small-town phone book. The non-disclosure agreement forbade not just photographs or recordings, but even the admission that the party existed. The Beverly Hills estate loomed like a palace carved from moonlight. Endless colonnades, marble fountains, hedges sculpted into mythical creatures, valets guided cars with balletic precision, servers in tuxedos glided through the courtyard with trays of crystal flutes. At first, the affair resembled any ultra-luxe bash, laughter spilling beneath chandeliers, designer gowns brushing imported rugs, beats from hidden speakers vibrating gently underfoot. Still, Jennifer felt a peculiar tension in the air, like a violin string drawn too tight. Most hosts bask in limelight, but Diddy seemed to hover above it, conducting rather than enjoying. He drifted from balcony to balcony, not drinking, not dancing, simply monitoring. Whenever his gaze landed on someone, an assistant scurried off with new instructions. Jennifer noticed he rarely spoke in full sentences. Brief murmurs sufficed to rearrange the chessboard. In that moment, she realized the party wasn't organic. It was choreographed, every sparkle and bass drop synchronized to an invisible script. Midnight struck, and with it the evening's energy flipped like a coin. Vibrant chatter muted, as if someone had gently squeezed the room's throat. Diddy's lieutenant, a woman wearing a jeweled headset, glided up to Jennifer and whispered, "Mr. Combs would love a personal word." Polite curiosity overrode caution. She followed the liaison past mirrored corridors that multiplied her reflection into infinity, then ascended a staircase narrower than grand design should allow. The second-floor hush felt padded, muffled, gone were the bright chandeliers. In their place simmered a crimson glow. The aide stopped before a door upholstered in midnight blue velvet, pressed a code into a hidden panel, and gestured Jennifer inside. The ceiling was low enough to induce a subtle claustrophobic squeeze. Cameras, sleek, lens caps off, perched in each corner like robotic ravens, dominating one wall. Banks of flat screens looped silent footage. Previous parties shot from bird's-eye views. Strangers in dim corridors. Celebrity faces unknowingly exposed to voyeuristic lenses. Diddy entered with feline ease, a half-smile playing on his lips. Behind him slunk another man, whose features blurred even in person, as though charisma itself distorted clarity. Diddy offered her a crystal glass filled with something amber. She declined. He chuckled. "Suit yourself. Some prefer full control of their memories." The screens flickered to a darker scene, masked figures stumbling through an opulent hallway. One collapsed. Over the silent footage, Diddy's voice threaded softly. "Everyone's hiding something. We just helped the truth surface." Alert instinct screamed to flee, and she tried. A bodyguard's bulk eclipsed the door. Diddy lifted a finger, The guard stepped aside, but not before the message landed, leaving required permission. As Jennifer descended the staircase, she felt that invisible hands still clenched around her throat, though no one touched her. Re-entering the main ballroom, she confronted a surreal continuity. Pop hits, clinking glasses, a supermodel laughing near the chocolate fountain. The dream resumed as if the nightmare upstairs were imagination. A narrow service corridor beckoned, promising a shortcut, yet delivering her to a downward stairwell where chilled air licked exposed skin. Recessed lights flickered unpredictably, echoing footsteps into something monstrous. At the bottom, the world smelled of cold incense and antique wood. Paintings stretched across walls, distorted faces missing eyes or mouths. One canvas depicted a figure screaming without sound. Staring at it made Jennifer's skull hum. A heavy black door stood ajar. Through the sliver, Jennifer beheld a tableau that would shadow her dreams. Robed silhouettes encircling a kneeling figure, each participant framed by glimmering cameras. No one spoke normally. Instead, the chant surged and ebbed like a tide around a full moon. Though masks obscured faces, Diddy's unmistakable timbre cut through the din as he directed camera angles, repositioned participants, refined the scene. It wasn't a party, it was a ritual captured for keeps. Terrified, Jennifer retraced her steps, heart slamming like cymbals. Back above ground, the celebration thrummed on, oblivious. Jennifer located her purse, only to discover her phone missing. A server insisted she try a signature cocktail. She declined. Her refusal elicited a look not of offense, but of record-keeping, as though another box was ticked. Non-compliant. Summoning nerve, she clutched her abdomen and announced a sudden illness. Only after repeating the story to 3 different staffers did a driver pull around. As the car rolled through wrought iron gates, a guard stare followed, unblinking, accusatory, expectant of silence. She vomited stress rather than alcohol that night, collapsing onto her hotel carpet. Sleep evaded her. Visions of velvet-lined rooms and masked ceremonies ricocheted behind her eyelids. At dawn, she called the actor friend who'd vouched for her. The friend answered with a single warning: "Forget what you saw. That's how you stay safe," then hung up. Over the next weeks, Hollywood's welcome mat vanished. Invitations evaporated. Production meetings stalled. Endorsement deals cooled. Publicly, nothing was amiss. Privately, her agent forwarded cryptic notes from studio executives, hinting she'd been labeled high risk. Brand managers urged her to project normalcy, post vacation photos, accept fluff interviews. She obliged, praying the chill would thaw. It didn't. It hardened into professional ice. 3 years later, federal investigators pried open doors gossip never could. An anonymous whistleblower delivered evidence of trafficking, coercion, and financial crimes linked to Diddy's enterprises. Search warrants followed. Agents seized hard drives from multiple properties. Recovered images matched stories long dismissed as conspiracy. Subpoenas fanned out across Hollywood, like eviction notices to a haunted house. Inside the courthouse, marble columns amplified every footstep. Jennifer's statement unfolded methodically. No theatrics, just precise details that painted terror in Dolby surround. She recounted the velvet room, the mantra of control, the basement ritual. Prosecutors projected photographs. The room draped in velvet, cameras angled toward a padded bench, a drawer of external drives without labels. Spectators gasped when prosecutors revealed estate blueprints. Hidden near the basement hallway lay a chamber marked MR. Diddy's defense insisted it meant media room, but no entertainment system existed inside. Only mirrored walls and a recliner facing a tripod. Jennifer had never stepped foot there, but she'd seen its aftermath on guests' faces. Pallor, nosebleeds, silent desperation. She explained how the mansion operated on 2 overlapping economies: the glossy spectacle for celebrities seeking clout and the subterranean circuitry of leverage. Videos capturing vices, fears, vulnerabilities. Those archives became keys to a gilded cage. Comply and thrive. Rebel and watch your world contract. Media coverage detonated overnight. Headlines screamed that Hollywood's golden girl had exposed a potential cult of exploitation. Commentators, once wary of Diddy's legal firepower, pivoted. Social feeds erupted with #BelieveJennifer. Sponsors severed ties. Day 2 of testimony sharpened the emotional blade. Asked why she'd stayed silent, Jennifer replied, "Silence is rewarded and courage is taxed." She described how the industry strangled dissent, scripts lost, endorsements withdrawn. Still, shame weighed more than unemployment. As proceedings stretched, additional witnesses stepped from shadows: drivers, former staff, caterers, each reinforcing Jennifer's narrative. One recalled bracelets: green for VIP lounge, red for special viewing, black for basement. Another produced texts instructing staff to delete footage whenever a black chip guest felt uneasy. During a recess, a reporter asked Jennifer whether she feared retaliation. "I'm past fear," she said. "Fear kept me quiet. Truth keeps me alive." Her words rippled beyond courthouse steps into boardrooms and studio lots. Meanwhile, Diddy's seat in court resembled a throne losing bolts. Each revelation loosened another screw. His attorneys argued character assassination. Evidence kept surfacing like ghosts refusing graves. Analysts predicted the trial would drag for months, but the public's verdict felt instantaneous. Petitions demanded boycotts. Streaming services de-emphasized his catalog. Former collaborators issued vague statements about learning and listening. A retired tech specialist testified he installed encrypted servers, later tasked with shredding drive labels. Under oath he said, "I've worked in war zones. I've never seen eyes that terrified." Jennifer lowered her gaze, tears threatening but never falling. By closing week, the trial felt less like litigation and more like an exorcism. Illusions Hollywood prized, glamour, exclusivity, unassailable success, peeled away, revealing an underbelly pulsing with exploitation. Jennifer's stand became beacon for dozens, now contacting prosecutors. Final arguments loomed. The prosecution thanked her by name. Defense objected. Judge overruled. When the jury retreated to deliberate, they carried not only evidence, but the weight of an industry's conscience. Deliberations were shorter than pundits predicted. Verdict aside, hush games were over. Studios began rewriting party policies, mandatory third-party security, independent privacy officers. Hollywood's unconscious compact of silence cracked irreparably. The entertainment economy recalibrated. Insurance underwriters began assessing ethical liability. One Velvet Room scandal could torch a franchise's valuation overnight. Ironically, Jennifer's truth-telling became an actuarial metric. Courage itemized, risk quantified. Film schools organized annual Lawrence lectures. First-year students drafted integrity manifestos. Graduates entered the field speaking a new shibboleth: "No story is worth a soul." Years later, Jennifer walked the Oscars red carpet as presenter. When she announced Best Picture, she added, "May our industry honor stories on screen and off, and may the off-screen ones be worthy of celebration." The audience erupted. Not polite applause, but a standing ovation for principles. Journalists frame her career in two acts, pre-Velvet and post-Velvet. She now produces documentaries uncovering abuses in other sectors. Audiences turn them into streaming sensations. Cultural scholars debate whether Hollywood's golden era ended or evolved. Nearly all agree on one point. After Lawrence's testimony, audiences refuse to separate spectacle from stewardship. Thus, legacy crystallizes. A once ordinary invitation led one woman into velvet walls and mirrored fears, yet she emerged carrying a lantern that ignited countless others. Empires fell, policies shifted, languages evolved because she declined to drink, asked a question, and faced a room full of strangers to speak undeniable truth. Some evenings, Jennifer reflects on the unlikely chain of events. She writes in a leather notebook, "Power dazzles, but conscience navigates. When dazzle dims, navigation remains." Where Velvet once framed exploitation, transparency now frames reform.